Right. So narrative writing is our topic. And in the context of school, narrative writing usually means a story, right? And that story must have different things happening. Either the things are happening right now as we watch them unfold, or we are remembering them as they happened in the past, right? Now, another thing about the stories we write is that they usually involve a character. Usually one main character, not a group. No, it's not very interesting to read about a group of people who are all doing the same thing. And because these stories are so short, relatively short, it's not interesting for a reader if we just get a whole lot of different characters and we don't get a clear sense of who they are and what they're motivated by, what they like, what they don't like, etc. So it's best if we focus on one character for the short space of time that we have in a story, right? And also the character should change in some way, right? So to me, the most important words in this paragraph, let me see. I'm going to highlight, right? And the change could be something that happens to them physically. Example, maybe they lose a limb. Maybe they got lost and they were found. Maybe they happened to vanquish a bully. Maybe they did well on a test. Maybe they cheated on a test. Or it could be something that happens in their head, a change that happens in their head. So they were planning to do something and then they changed their mind because they listened to sense, or like the words of the people around them that they remembered. Or they were worried about something and the story is about what it is and why they were worried, and by the end of the story they come to a consensus in their heads. Either they stop being worried or they decide it's not so important, whatever it is, right? So that's what we mean by something happening. It doesn't have to be a physical event, right? And I already indicated to you all, if you were here, that this paragraph on the left is what we're writing down, right? All right, so events that happen or are remembered. To me, that's one main thing from this paragraph. And then another main thing is a main character. And then another main thing is changes in some way. So it could be a physical change. It could be a change of circumstance. They could win the lottery. Or they could lose out on something that they gambled big on. Or it could be a mental change. They make up their mind to do something difficult. They decide they cannot do something difficult. Something that happens in their head, right? All right, any questions or thoughts? Any important detail you think we've left off of this? The main features of narrative writing here? Let me know. All right, so I'm giving us, we could take 1 more minute to just make this note. And if you've already noted it, you could maybe highlight or underline the keywords in it, the key phrases in it. So it's 3 things that are important to remember in your story, right? Okay, so I'm giving just 2 minutes to finish writing this down because it's fairly short and some of you all started already, right? So 2 minutes and then I'll check in to see if you need more time. Okay, so it's 11:45. Anybody need more time to write? All right, go ahead. All right, now Said asked a good question in the chat. Can descriptive writing have a bit of narrative writing in it? And what I'm saying to him is usually it's the other way around. That narrative writing usually has some description, right? Descriptive writing, nothing really happens. It's just nothing major happens, right? And there's no main event. There's not a focus on recounting events, I should say. You could still have a mental change, right? Of the person, of somebody based on what they are seeing happen, right? So I'm just going to add this to the bottom. If you have time, you could add it in too, right? Narrative writing. Change the color here. And how much description really depends on the story. Right? Narrative writing usually includes description. All right, so 2 more minutes. And then if you're not done, we'll need to take a screenshot and continue, right? 2 minutes. All right, so by now everybody should be done writing. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the screen, we're gonna move on, right? We're going to look at some examples. The first one is an example to read, and then the other two are video examples. Now, because this is not my original stuff, I'm gonna pause the recording while we look at the examples. So if anybody is looking back at the recording, they will need to put the title of each thing into Google. And the title of number 1, Journey by Night by Undine Giuseppe into Google. And then number 2 and 3, they could go to YouTube and put in the title and the video will come up, right? Vendor Rivalry. And then One Night in Piaco. Some of y'all may have seen this before, 2 and 3, because these are Trinidad animations, little sketches that are done by a Trinidadian, right? All right, so let me pause the recording. Okay, yeah. So what makes a compelling story, right? First thing, one main event or conflict in the middle of the story or towards the end, right? I mean, so these are things we need to note. Right? In the middle or towards the end. 1 second, guys. Right, so one main in the middle or to the end. It doesn't have to be smack in the middle, right? It could be towards the end. Sorry, my handwriting is so terrible. You know, our class this week told me I need to type instead of write because apparently my handwriting is terrible. I blame Sue for this. His handwriting is very neat and it's making mine look bad by comparison. Right? With many smaller events leading up to it. So think of the vendor story. And how, you know, it wasn't just that a fight broke out. It was that all these things happened before they traded insults. People took things as an insult and then they traded insults and then one person pushed the next one and then a fight broke out, right? All right. Yes, you're going to write this down, right? All right. Next point. We need a single main character who is the one with the problem that makes the main event, right? And I'm serious about this. The examples we looked at, the first one had a main character. The second one had two main characters, but the second one was in a video. And you can get a lot more information in through a video than you can with words on a page before your reader gets bored, right? If you think about it, you watch the video for 4 minutes or 5 minutes and you didn't have any issues. You didn't feel like, oh, this is so terrible. I need to go to something more interesting. But if I gave you something to read for 5 minutes, you might not be able to focus for the 5 minutes unless it happened to be something you were interested in, right? Videos could pull in a lot of people, even if it's not something that you're interested in. So in your words, choose one main character with one main problem to keep your reader invested. All right, next one. The main character has to undergo some kind of change in mentality or circumstances for the story to be enjoyable, right? And then sometimes something unexpected could happen at the end. So to go back to number 3, let me get rid of 4. In the story we read, the main character, well, they don't actually undergo changes, but the reader's perspective is the one that changes because we see a different side of the issue. Previously, we were seeing the traveler's side and we were worried for him. By the end of the story, we see the driver's side and we realize, wait a minute, he's worried too, right? All right, so that's one thing. And then in the vendor story, the both vendors undergo a change because they decide, all right, well, we will be friends again. This fight is not worth it, right? And the last one, maybe the officer undergoes a change. Maybe he decides there's no room for mosquitoes in Piaco. He might have been about to let in one, and maybe he decides, nope, he's not letting in any. So have your character undergo some kind of change, right? Or if the main character is the mosquito, well, you know, he doesn't survive. That's his change. All right, sometimes something unexpected could happen at the end. Did something unexpected happen at the end of the first story? Yeah, the unexpected thing turned out to be that the taxi driver too was worried. And in the vendor story, what is the unexpected thing that happens at the end? They make up, but then what happens in the last 30 seconds or so? Two other vendors approach them. They hear that they were talking stupidness about their coconuts and corn soup, right? Okay, and in the story with the mosquitoes, well, I'm not sure if anything unexpected happens there. But I bet if you have to pick out of the three things that we looked at and read, which was the least entertaining one? The last one, the mosquito story, right? And let's think about why. Who is saying the second one? Maybe by second one, you mean the last one about the mosquitoes, right? Let's think about why that is. Why? One reason could be because the person, no, while I'm talking, I'm hoping you all are making a note of this, right? One reason could be because the person is trying to teach a lesson, and that's their main focus. Mosquitoes are bad, let's kill the mosquitoes. So nothing really unexpected happens. The mosquito tries to get in and somebody stops it, right? There are a few funny bits like the passport. Somebody said the passport was funny along the way, but other than that, it's just it's something we expect, right? There's nothing to surprise us or make us think about things differently. And that's what makes a strong story. It makes us think about things differently, right? What else? It didn't have, we're not clear on who the main character is. Is it the mosquito? Is it the customs officer? We're not sure. So if we cannot see in a story these four things here, it's hard for us as readers to get engaged in a story. If you think about any story you like, any movie you like, or any book you like, you'll probably find that it has these things in there. There's a main conflict. All the events lead up to the conflict, even if you don't realize it at first. There's one main character with a problem. There's, even if it's a group, there's one main character, right? The main character has to undergo some kind of change. They grow, and often there's something unexpected at the end, right? All right, any questions or anything anybody wants to add or say or quarrel about? No, all right, so it's 12:30 now. Let's say that we take a 10 minutes here, 5 minutes to finish writing on 1 to 4, because I know some people will not be done, and then a 5-minute break, right? So 5 minutes to finish writing 1 to 4, and then a 5-minute break, and then we will resume. So we will resume at 12:40, 12:40, right? I'm right here. If anybody wants to put anything in the chat, feel free, right? But I'm muting myself and pausing the recording. Let's start back. Let's clear this, right? So let me just show us the timetable for anybody who didn't see it as yet for September, right? So classes start on Monday, the 5th of September. That's the first day of school, right? To register, if you're interested in registering, you need to have your parents, not you, but your parents, assuming you're not an adult. If you're an adult, then you do it, but have parents message to at 7122652, just send them a WhatsApp message and he will send them the registration link, right? And this is the timetable down below. Right? All right, anybody have any questions about this? Or we can go back to the topic, the class. All right, so we're going back to the class, right? Oh, okay, waiting, just waiting for somebody to screenshot it, I imagine. Right, remember the process is have your parents message Sir, and they will send he will send the registration form to them, right? You're choosing classes based on the form you're going into in September. All right, so I'm counting to 10, and then I'm going to minimize this and go back to our class topic, right? All right, here's one more example of a story, but on a set up as a comic strip. Right? All right, so let me give you a minute to read it to yourself, and then we'll discuss it. Yes, it's very wholesome. Okay, so we have a presumably teenage boy coming in to the house, and his aunt says she made arroz con pollo. Okay, well, right, and he says, that's okay, Auntie Cameron, I picked up a cheeseburger. And she looks so sad. Look at that sad face. So then he feels bad because she's sad, and he says, but hey, you know how much I love cheeseburger arroz sandwich. So he puts rice in his sandwich to make her happy again, right? So by the last picture, she's smiling. So we have a complete story. We have a setup, as in like the events leading up to something, which is her and the rice, him saying about the cheeseburger, and then her getting sad. So that's the conflict, right? But she's sad that he doesn't want the meal that she prepared. And then the resolution at the end where he combines the meals to please her, right? Right, yes. Okay, so very simple. Nice. We feel that the character, probably feel that the character is a nice person now that we've seen it. All right, let's write our own version of a story. We just went through this one. So I was thinking we can write our own version of what happens at one night at Piaku, either with the mosquitoes or without. But if anybody has a different topic they would like to suggest, anybody want to suggest a topic for a story? Some of you asked, somebody is asking why they feel hungry every class that we have. Well, the reason for that is because all of my classes are at lunchtime. It's not because I show you all food pictures or talk about food. It's because class is at lunchtime. All right. So since we've all watched One Night at Piaku, I have a general sense of what it's about. We could use that to put together a story, right? But if anybody would like to suggest a different topic, and we could get some consensus on it, we could do that instead. So I'm giving 1 minute if anybody has a different topic they want to suggest, and I'll bring it up to class. Otherwise, we try in One Night at Piaku. Okay, so we write in One Night at Piaku. But let's write it from the perspective of the mosquito, without revealing to the audience it's a mosquito until the end. So we're gonna watch it back really quickly. Let's show it. All right, so the plane lands. So was a dramatic sentence to tell us that a plane had or just a sentence to tell us the plane has landed. That might be useful so we know it's an airport situation and the person is trying to get through immigration without saying that. All right. Okay, so we arrived finally, or maybe we should say finally we arrived. All right, the plane touched down at Piaco International, right? Give me a time. What time is this? Okay, 10:20, that's the first one we got. AM or PM? At 10:20 AM. Which would be more dramatic, which would make the family more stressful or make things probably PM. Yeah. Are we writing the story down? Well, it could be a model of a story. The benefit is really in how we pay attention to how we put together the details for the story, right? But yes, it is a model you could use later on. So either write it as we go with us, you could change things accordingly if you prefer something, or else take a screenshot at the end, but you should have a copy of the story in your notes, right? All right, so finally we arrived. The plane touched down at Piaco International at exactly 10:20 p.m. Now I'm trying to get to about 300 words with us, right? But we may not get to all before the end of class. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so when a plane touches down, what do people do first of all? What would he do? He's traveling with his family. The plane lands. Before they depart the plane, just if we say we departed the plane, that is boring. Okay, good. So we would grab our luggage from where? All right, so I grabbed our bags from the overhead compartments. What? Okay, so that's what he will get the bags and the wife will do what? Get the kids. All right, good. So while my wife, you notice what wrangled? It gives the idea of things that are going in all these different directions, and you have to kind of get them to come together, wrangle the children, right? All right, so yes, write it down or take a screenshot at the end, but you should have an example of a story that you could keep as a sample, right? And what is really important is that we follow the process and internalize the steps of us writing and the choices we make and why, right? So far, we are setting the scene, right? What is 10:20 p.m.? So what will immigration and customs be like? Will it be busy? Will it be quiet because it's nighttime? How will the people be feeling? It should be quiet, all right? Okay, so we could start a new paragraph here. Now, in the example we looked at, right? Notice that the person did not skip lines between the paragraphs. They wrote flush against the margin, but they did not skip lines. And if I were marking this paper, I would give them big fat red X's, right? Because if you are writing in block format, you need to skip lines between your paragraphs, right? So this is a problem. This is a problem. Okay, you all remember this, right? This is a problem. They need to indent. They need to either indent or skip a line. What is this? Okay, sorry, that's a big, right? So they must indent or skip lines, not both, one or the other, right? You remember that, right? So we will do that with ours. We are going to skip lines, right? All right. Customs was quiet. Customs and immigration. The floors up. I want to say was quiet, but it's two things, so we'll come across, it will sound wrong to the reader. So the floors of customs and immigration were quiet, right? Okay, we were tired. All right, so instead of saying we were tired, groggy is a nice word, right? Groggily. Somebody suggested groggy, and Jana did, right? So groggily, we made our way to the, okay, what kind of line, what was the name of the line we joined in? Anybody knows? Anybody remembers? What are the two lines you have in customs? Or the last time I traveled, it was two lines, two different signs. It could be different now, I don't know. Ooh, a nice line, and hungry for a bite in the land. Yeah. All right, so the non-CARICOM line, right? Because the lines in the airport divided into two is like nationals and CARICOM members, and then the other one is non-CARICOM people outside of CARICOM. We gradually made our way to the non-CARICOM line. All right, anxious to, okay, hungry for a bite in the land. All right, so we haven't revealed yet that we are mosquitoes, right? Okay, what else? Let's approach the customs officer, right? So I approach the customs officer, not costumes officer, that's different, right? It's the customs officer. Oh, did I misspell customs? I didn't. It's C-U and then O. Right, thanks. Passport in hand, right? Okay, now let's look back at this. And I'm going to, I want us to watch the encounter for ideas. Whoops, wrong thing, not the vendor rivalry, sorry. We don't have the time to put that into words. But I'm going to mute it so that I could just highlight all the different things that we could put in our story. Sorry. Great expectations. Okay, so that might work because the mosquito has great expectations. The visitor has great expectations. All right, well, let's go with great expectations. All right, so customs officer was engrossed in a book. Great expectations. All right, so what does the mosquito do? I cleared my throat. As his gaze turned towards me. Okay, so guys, describe the customs officer's face. How does the customs officer look at him? What happens to his eyebrows? What happens to his forehead? Okay, grumpy, disgusted, annoyed, surprised. All right. Grumpy and mean. Okay, so his face was conveyed a mixture of grumpiness annoyance, and surprise as he reached slowly for my passport, right? All right, how does the mosquito feel? What are the mosquito's feelings? Why are they here in this new land? What have they come for? What are they hoping for? Think of the mosquito and his family. Yeah, they're here to bite people, but how would they, from their perspective, if you were in the mosquito shoes? Yes, but if you are in the mosquito shoes, what are you really trying to do? Okay, good. We're trying to migrate for a better lifestyle, for more food, right? Because wherever you come from, food is in short supply. Okay. All right. So 1,000,000 thoughts passed through me under the officer's nose. Right? My family and I were here for the opportunities that Trinidad could offer. At the very least, food would be plentiful. Even the baby would be able to get what he needed. Right? Okay, anything else? Yes, the passport is marked, I will bite you and you will bleed, right? Together we'll bite you, together we'll bleed. But from the mosquito's perspective, he wouldn't say that to people. Well, I mean, it's in the passport, but forget the passport for a minute. The mosquito thinks he's just minding his business, trying to take care of his family. A better lifestyle, Kalia said, all right. Okay, so we could put that in, a better lifestyle was just on the horizon, right? All right, so now what we know is going to happen next. How many words do we have so far? Can we do a little count of the words? Can I right click on the somebody count by chance? No, it will not. All right, how many words do we have so far? In one line, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, about 15 words. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I almost have 150 words. Wouldn't you put he as they, since we don't know the gender of the baby? But wouldn't it, well, okay, so you could say they, but is the father speaking any mosquito? So remember she's holding a baby in her hand, so we don't know the gender, but the father presumably knows gender. And to make that clear, we could say she. All right. A better lifestyle was just on the horizon. Okay, so no more scarcity. No more want. No more being an outcast. Right? Trinidad was the home of friendly people. And this new immigration program would give us a place to live. Should international have a capital I? I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and see. Okay, the place to be. All right, so this immigration program made it the place to be. Where do I have international? I'm wondering if you mean immigration. Okay, well, if you see it, tell me. All right. So we understand what we're doing so far. We've hidden the fact that it's a mosquito, but when they get to the end and people realize it's a mosquito, they'll be like, oh yeah, all of these clues. Better food. He meant he was going to bite us. A bite to eat. Okay, all right. They'll realize it was a mosquito, right? The first line of the whole story. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, yeah, because it's part of the name, so it should be capitalized. Thanks. All right, what is going to happen next in the story? So I need to change the slide to finish the story because if I keep typing here, it will make everything really small. But some people are writing, right? Or taking a screenshot. So I want to give us a few minutes to do that. But what is going to happen next in our story? Maybe we could put in one more paragraph if I stretch this. Okay, guys, think about it. What happens next in the video? The officer looks at the passport and what does he do? He stamps it. All right, okay. So the officer looked down his nose at me. All right, what what sound does his stamp make when it hits? Okay, bam. All right, so the stamp hit my passport loudly in the quiet night, the quiet airport, right? All right. Oh, we left out the part where he asked him if he was traveling. I don't know, but that's okay. All right, so eagerly, I picked it up to rejoin my family. But there in red were words that would forever change my life. Yes, we could say it echoed. We could say echoing loudly, right? All right. Let me see if I could just keep typing and this will move up and then we can see it, right? Right. Okay, so let's use the words here. Do come back. Now, at this point, if someone is with us, they would realize, if I write do come back as a stamp, they would realize this is not a serious story. Right? Do come back, entry, and this one I'm putting in caps. Because no real stamp would have do come back as a thing, right? That's Trini slang. Entry denied. Okay. Even worse, what's he doing now? What's the passport, the customs officer doing next? His arm was raised, poised to strike us. Right. How would the mosquito feel at this point? If you put yourself in the mosquito's shoes, right? Somebody raises their hand to end your mosquito life. How are you going to feel? Disrespected. Okay. Anything else? The disrespect. All right. Yes, I would think something like scared, right? All right, so let me save disrespect for the next one. All right, so mostly fear. All right. Okay, so I was both scared and furious. Who did he think he was? Meh. All right. I feel like I would prefer for it to just be a sad, sorry, the thing shifted, right? It will go back just now. Just be a sad response. Okay, now let's think of things from the customs officer's perspective. At this point, how could we have him reveal as a mosquito? So if this were my story in school, I would skip a line. Well, I've been skipping lines before, so I will skip 2 lines to make it clear that there's a new speaker, right? So think about it. The customs officer. How is the customs officer going to feel? A mosquito come to ask for entry into the country. Annoyed. Okay, so let's start it from the customs officer. All right, so the nerve of some people. How on earth could they think that we would let their kind in here? What's the officer's name? You want to give him a name? Okay. All right. I'm getting a whole range of names here. I'm just gonna pick one. Hernandez. That seems like the most unexpected one. Hernandez. Officer Hernandez. Was okay, what was before the mosquito was scared and furious, right? All right. Was okay, you only do it flabbergasted. Right? At the disrespect he saw before him. Right? All right. He took his book, or he picked up his book, slammed it down once to stop the infernal buzzing. And went back to Dickens, because Great Expectations is written by Charles Dickens, right? I have to change was to saw. How on earth could they think that we would let their kind in here? Officer Hernandez was flabbergasted. I did this. Oh, so okay, all right, thanks. Right, so he slammed it down once to stop you from buzzing. I went back to Dickens. Great Expectations indeed. Right? No mosquitoes would get through customs on his watch. Ta-da! All right, so we're done. Okay, so we've tried to incorporate some of the things that we talked about, right? So you could finish taking down your example. Let me see, let me do a little word count again. We had 15 words per line or so, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 by 15. Might be a little short on the word count, but that's okay. $2.55. All right. Well, if you wrote this and you had to go back and put in about 50 words, you could probably do it with some more description also, right? You put in a little one of those little carries. Oops, that's a bad depiction of a carry. The little upside down V, right? And you put your line on top to add in the words, depending on the word limit a teacher gives you. But I think at most it'll be like 300 words you might get. Maybe even 255, like 250, like this one, right? All right. Okay, good. Thank you, Kyla. Kyla says she would read this. I think you all should do a little activity whereby you show the story to somebody that you know and ask them to read it and see if they think it's interesting. And if they get it twisted at the end or if it's not clear. All right. All right. Any thoughts or anything anybody wants to share? So I want us to remember that what we did, we have a series of events. We have one main event, which is the mosquito being denied entry. Our twist at the end is to reveal that the person telling the story was really a mosquito. Right? We put in this detail about great expectations so that we could use, well, we found a way to use it again, right? If we put in details, we should try and use them again afterwards. So a few people mentioned the movie Red Notice when I was asking about movies with a twist. Have a lot of you all seen it? With Dwayne Johnson and Gal Gadot and... All right, so even if you haven't seen it, and I'm giving away spoilers. Well, am I giving away spoilers? Probably I'm giving away spoilers, so I apologize. Towards the end of the movie, we find out that the people who we thought were enemies are actually not enemies, right? So I like this explanation. Deadpool, Rock, and Wonder Woman acted together. Yes, forget their real names. That's who they are forever. Deadpool, Rock, and Wonder Woman. Anyway, we find out that these people that we thought were working together were not really. And they are able to show us a montage of clips from earlier in the movie. And we are able to look at it with new eyes and see, wait a minute, what we thought was happening wasn't really happening. So it's good to plant the details in your story that you can use again to show a twist or to develop a greater meaning or something. So we have great expectations. There's the expectation of immigration and hopefully getting a better life. And then it turns out, nope, it's just a heavy book to kill a mosquito with. So, you know, think about those things when you write it. How can you put in a detail that you could make into something more? It won't happen immediately, but it could happen over time with practice. Power of the Dog. I haven't seen that movie. I don't know. I'm going to look up what that is. All right, so that brings us to an end for today's class. And well, for the summer classes, right? So once you have your example and the notes that you need, you're free to go ahead. Have a good day. Have a good rest of the vacation. If I don't see any of you in the other classes, it's been fun. Y'all have been a really good class. Right? Yeah, any questions you have now, you could put them into the chat, right? Remember to, yes, I can go back to the compelling story. Can I do that now? And then I'll come back to the story if anybody needs it, right? This is the last English for lower forms class. And the other classes that we have on Yeah, I'll scroll up in a second, right? So whoever needed this slide, go ahead, take a screenshot. The other classes that we normally have on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will continue just until this Monday. All right. Okay, so I'm going back to the story, right? Okay, bye guys. Thanks everyone. Yes, I hope to see you all again soon. All right, so this is the story. This is the beginning of the story. And then I will scroll on again for those of you who need the bottom, and eventually I'll put it into 2 slides, right? All right, so I'm scrolling down again. All right, so let me pause the recording.